mean, I don't think that all those people know, but Israel left Gaza in 2005.
Yeah.
And you would imagine, this is a free will. We pulled every Jew, like third Reich, every
Yep.
Jew,
Yep.
were dead or alive, we digged out the graves.
Okay.
What we got right after that, rockets on Jerusalem, rockets on Tel Aviv. And what is important is intent.
Hey, everybody, I caught myself a really good one today. So, actually, this is kind of a different interview I'm going to do than the majority of the interviews I do. But as you know, I like bringing all these different types of people on. So, before I move forward, thanks again for watching, subscribing, creating this space for all of us to have these amazing conversations. And I'm always willing to have these conversations. So, with that, hey, Michael, this is Michael
Hey,
Lucas. And I'm sorry, I just have to fix this one thing here. It's going crazy, my computer. So, I don't know why it went crazy when I introduced you. So this is Michael
yes,
Lucas. He's an awesome friend, old school friend of mine. And so introduce yourself, Michael, and then we'll move forward.
I am Michael Lucas, and I'm the CEO and the founder of Lucas Entertainment. I live between New York and right now Tel Aviv. I'm here in Tel Aviv now for 4 months soon, since the beginning of the war. I came as soon as I could get the place on the plane. It was very impressive that actually all the planes were full. Absolutely, all the planes were full. Israelis were flying back. Israelis living abroad. Israelis living in New York. The same was in every other country, and Israelis were flying abroad to either go to fight or to help. I mean,
Wow.
for example, I cannot fight, so I collect oranges and avocados. Because a lot of men are in the army.
Yeah.
What am I going to do at 52? But no, yeah.
Yeah, but the fact that you came there and showed up, it says a lot about you.
Thank
And you're
you.
right. The fact that all the planes are full, oh, this says a lot to me. And, the love for Israel, the love for the people. And again, this is a conversation a lot of people don't want to have, and that's okay. If you want to shut down, you can turn off. But I'm willing to have these conversations, and they're important conversations. And, people out there don't know. I'm an American, okay? I've been to Israel. I have a ton of Israeli friends. I'm in a Jewish space. I see everything that I can see. But, many people don't understand. And I think people here in America need to just back down and not be involved in something they don't understand the actual depth of what is going on over there. How do you feel about what's happening over here in America in regards to,
Well,
yeah,
I mean, majority of Americans are on the side of Israel. I
that's
mean,
true. That's true.
and we live in sort of bubble sometimes, right? But
Yeah.
overwhelming majority of Americans are on the
Yeah.
side of Israel, and that's a policy of the United States and all the Western countries. We cannot. You see, the problem is lots of young people. It's TikTok and social media
That's right.
now, and I will explain to you what it is, in my opinion. There are 1.8 billion Muslims and there are 15 million Jews. I'm one of 15 millions. Less than 1% is a tiny, tiny number. I
Mhm.
mean, when 1.8 billion people,
Yeah.
imagine, I mean, we cannot fight that volume, just sheer volume of propaganda. I mean, how can you fight? We only can fight it on intellectual level.
Mhm.
And that means that you can only win with people that are able to be independent thinkers. And it's not many people that are very highly educated, people that are interested,
Mhm.
people that are curious.
Mhm.
And it is very difficult to fight this war when young people are so brainwashed by social media. And I understand that very well. I mean, look, if you show all the time, you see thousands of videos of
Yeah.
killed women and children being killed. That is very hard. Um, that is very difficult not to get confused about actually what's going on. And people also forget what happened. I mean,
Yes.
John Rivers, when she was during the previous conflict in Gaza, when she was alive, she was stopped at JFK and she was asked about the Gaza conflict. And she said, Are you all insane? They started it. Are you all insane? They started it.
Totally.
They started it, and that was just that's how simple it is. They started
Yes,
it,
that's
and
right.
they started it means they actually came at 5 o'clock in the morning. They killed 1,200 people, and they killed them in the most barbaric ways.
Yeah.
Something what we've never seen before. There's a difference between Nazi monsters and Hamas monsters, and the difference is in methods of killing, and also in the enjoyment of murder. Because my partner is a journalist, I watched 47 minutes movie that was only shown to journalists, from CNN to BBC, and politicians. In any Israeli consulate, it was available. I never would forget that there's a lot there. I would never forget the young guy, who was decapitated on the kitchen floor by several men with shovels. And the entire time that they were decapitating him, they were yelling, Allahu Akbar, and they had glees. They were gleeing.
Yeah.
And filming it. And they were filming it. This is a totally different level. And that's a difference with Nazis that killed 6 million Jews. And look, I mean, it's about the intent. Of course, they would love to kill every Jew in Israel and all over the world, and not only a Jew. By the way, they murdered every Thai worker. I was in kibbutz where there was a room where they pushed all the Thai workers, and they killed them. I think it was machetes, because the blood was all over the ceiling.
Wow.
So that is the difference. And also, Nazis they were denying it until the very end.
Right.
They were ashamed of that, and they were afraid of that.
Right.
These guys televised it all over the world. They were proud of it. And it's about intent. They would love to kill actually every Jew they saved. The lesson from the Holocaust is, if someone is telling you that they want to kill you, you should believe them.
Yes.
They're not joking. And these guys are not joking.
They're not.
Who was killed? People that were lived on the border with Gaza. They were the left of the left. These were the people that were all the way for two-state solution, that were criticizing Israeli government. These were the people that were driving Palestinian kids to Israeli hospitals for chemotherapy. These kind of people. But it didn't matter for Hamas at all.
Yeah.
And about innocent. Oh yeah, there are a lot of innocent people. Of course, children are always innocent.
That's right.
But there is a thing to it. There was second wave and the third wave. After Hamas fighters, there was a second wave. There were civilians. And the third wave, there were civilians in thousands that were coming to loot and to kill whoever they could find. Wow. And of course, we will respond. Of course, there will be a response. The thing about that is, during Second World War, we killed millions of German civilians.
Yeah.
No one ever. It was unimaginable that someone will say ceasefire.
That's right.
And of course, we killed millions of civilians during Second World War. In fact, Americans and Brits were, particularly Brits, were bombing Dresden. For example, Dresden. There's nothing to do with military. There was no strategic interest in Dresden. There were only civilians. But they were doing it in order to demoralize the enemy. And the way we won the war was because we used all our might. We were fighting 100%.
Yep.
And then we destroyed the morale site and crushed the Nazis.
Yep.
And that's what we are not doing here.
Yep. That's right.
Israel never had to go to Gaza. It could have been done by air. And never boots on the ground. The only reason Israeli soldiers are going to Gaza is because they don't want to have more casualties.
That's right.
The only reason.
Yeah,
That's the only reason.
I mean, if people would just see, that's obvious that you're right. Israel could have just and carpet bombed the whole place and just wiped the whole Gaza out. I mean, I don't understand. You're right. They went they went on the ground, they went in, they did not. But bottom line is this to me, Michael, is that Hamas is a terrorist group. They're the ones behind this whole thing. I mean, that's just why are people acting as if this is about Palestinian people? It's about Hamas controlling Palestinian people on some level, right? And
Unfortunately, there is also one more thing to it. Of course,
yeah,
we've seen, and that was shown on CNN and everywhere, and all over
yep,
online.
yeah,
They saw how they were dragging Jewish women, with blood
that's right.
between their legs, through the streets of Gaza, and thousands of people rejoiced. They
My
were
God,
rejoicing
I
in the
know.
streets of Gaza. And these were civilians.
That's
Now,
right.
the support of Hamas in the West Bank is 87%, I believe.
Okay, okay,
87%. In
wow.
Gaza, and that's Fatah. West
Okay,
Bank is run by
okay,
Fatah.
right.
Now, Gaza is run by Hamas. And
Okay,
why? Because they voted for Hamas. They voted them in. So, of course, when you vote for Nazis, new Nazis, there are consequences to that.
that's right.
And if we go back to what happened to me, the reaction that I got from the industry.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
so to describe it, I mean that situation. I brought 10 pairs of military boots for soldiers for donation, and one of the soldiers sent me a photo of a rocket with my
Okay,
name on it, and it did
okay.
say, "From Michael Lucas to Gaza."
Hmm.
I received it. I
Okay,
forgot about it. And I
okay.
was online. So it's not that I signed the rocket. Doesn't
Sure.
matter. But just the
Yeah,
fact,
yeah.
just the fact is just so ridiculous. But what do you think that they let me into Gaza to start signing rockets? No, some
What?
soldiers sent me the picture. No, I was online and very stupidly, just like every Jew today, and not only Jews got sucked into that whole thing. And there are several major anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli
Sure.
accounts. And one of them is Jake Shields. Jake Shields, if you Google his name and put
Okay.
homophobe next to it, he's a major Israeli, well-known homophobe. He is in sports. It's a guy in sports, and he's
Wow.
bashing Israel since day one.
Wow.
Now, he posted, so someone made a joke, and someone posted his name, wrote his name on a rocket, and he was complaining. Someone wrote his name and several other homophobes, and he was complaining about it online. How dare they, and all of this. So I made a joke. I found that photo, I posted that photo, and I wrote, did they, I actually asked for this for my name on the rocket. Did they send you a picture before and after? And I posted that, and I forgot about it. 2 weeks
Sure.
later, someone digged out that tweet and
Uh-oh.
twisted the whole thing into that I want to kill women and children. And that is exactly what happened here. That
Wow.
it was Christmas Eve, and
Yeah.
which I don't celebrate, but I was hoping that others do. But no, everyone
Wow.
got busy, and everyone, a small group of people, which is incredibly vocal,
Yeah.
were decided to spend their Christmas Eve on calling for boycott. And of course, it was led by that blog, Straight Up Geek, and by the Iranian,
Oh,
right, of course,
that's right.
and by Iranian, American Iranian stuff. Now, just to tell you, I will give you one example so you understand what Straight Up Geek is about.
Yeah.
And I think because we're in the industry for a long time, I think
Yeah.
you do remember.
Yeah.
Among many things, that's a
Yeah.
blog that's run by Zachary Zaya.
Yeah.
Zachary Zaya, when he lost his, was it 8 years ago? When he lost Grady's award, he was nominated. You remember that? He was
Yes.
nominated for the best blogger along with others and Queer Me Now. he lost to Queer Me Now. That night, he decided, he was so angry about it. And he won plenty of that, right?
Yeah.
But that time he lost to Queer Me Now, who is wonderful blog, who loves models, just a huge fan of,
Yep.
not a gossip blog.
Yep.
And that upset him so much that what he did is, the guy is from Thailand. And do you remember that he wrote a post? He put his real name.
Yes.
And in Thailand, it's against the law. Pornography is against the law. So he wrote his real name, and he said, when you accepted the award, you didn't give your real name, something along this line. So here's the real name. He's a nice guy. Maybe he will go to jail, and that will be too sad.
Right.
That's what he wrote. And then next day, it was an outcry. And then he people were, in the industry were outraged. It was just, he wanted to put his competitor to jail just because he won an award.
So weird.
That is the guy. And then he deleted it. Actually, what he did,
of course,
he accused him in sabotaging his website. So his website went down for an hour, and when it got back up, suddenly there was no blog, no blog post about Queer Me Now. And that is the person who is saying that who is morally superior, who is telling me that I want to kill women and children. And that is the person who is doing that. And this amazes me. It's not surprising at all. But a lot of people just don't know who we're talking about.
Well, no, I know the backstory is important, but it's important that you backstory that particular person, because that particular person clearly can do this to anyone that he dislikes, for him to say that about you, bringing children and women into this whole situation is so obviously, he's gaslighting. He's totally just trying to derail your message. And also, why are these people bringing pornography into something so important? The conversation about what's happening in Israel, so it has nothing to do with pornography. Yet here this man is taking you and your career and your everything you've done a lot for the industry, by the way. And I want people to know that Michael's done a lot for this industry in many good ways. To come and just do that to you says to me that he needs attention from what's happening.
First of all, look, this guy is actually anti-Semitic. This guy has a history of going after Israel. He is calling me nearly every post a Zionist. A Zionist. He's using the word Zionist. He's using as a slur.
It's not a slur. I'm a Zionist. What are you talking about?
So is a Joe Biden, who said,
that's right.
Who said, I'm a proud Zionist, because the only thing, anyone who support the right of Jewish people for self-determination is a Zionist. If you believe the Jews have a right to have Israel as their country,
that's right.
Is a Zionist. That is the definition of Zionism. There's nothing more to it. And I'm a Zionist. I believe, and I support Israel and believe that it's my country. I'm a citizen of Israel. Of course, I will stand by my army after what happened. Absolutely, of course.
But also, I'm not Israeli, right? I've told you I live in a Jewish space. I'm converting to Judaism. All of the stuff that, whatever, that's my private business. But that being said, I don't understand why you can't be a Zionist, which means exactly what you just said, right? And also believe in the freedom of all people out there. Why is being a Zionist? Okay, I'm going to ask you this question, Michael, because I don't understand. Why is being a Zionist a bad thing?
Well, that you can ask, people that are calling me a Zionist and using it as a slur.
It doesn't make sense.
But that's just because they don't know what Zionist is, and that is only, and it's Google. This is because these people are not absolutely have no curiosity about anything.
That's
Know
right.
absolutely nothing.
That's
Absolutely
right.
nothing. They
Right
don't even
on.
know how many great people that are not Jewish identify as Zionists.
Yep.
So it's really about a tiny bit of research. Get off the TikTok and do a little bit of
Sweet.
research. And
Yeah.
that is the problem. And, I just want to make it very clear, very small number, like percentage-wise,
Yeah.
of models
Yeah.
condemned me. And a tiny number of people that work for me,
Great.
condemned me. And couple of them, that was upsetting when I heard it. I think about two people.
Yeah.
Derek Cage, I was very disappointed, and Sean Xavier. Sean Xavier later reached out to me and said, "Michael, I just want to say sorry. I talked to Mr. Pam, I think he said, and I want to say sorry that I wasn't a better friend," something along this line. I couldn't even understand. And I said, "Listen," I said, "you did it publicly, and you are now privately reaching out to me." He said, "Well, but I kind of still, don't approve of like the language. Like the substance is what matters. The language. This has nothing to do with me. This had to do with the interpretation that straight up gay porn and Iranian porn star, Sharak, who I never met in my life. I don't think I ever did. Decided to smear me, and that's
So
the
crazy.
and by the way, not one. I can't think about not one of those models condemned October 7th. The biggest slaughter of Jews since Holocaust.
That's right.
Not one.
That's
I checked Instagram and Twitter of Sharak on October 7th. Not a word. But on October, I believe on October 8th, or maybe October 9th, I don't remember, he wrote, "Ceasefire now." And then it was about genocide. So before any Palestinian was killed, before Israelis, or the day, next day, I believe it was the next day, he wrote ceasefire. And then he started accusing Israel in genocide. But he didn't shed a tear for Jews that were murdered that day.
Well, because he has an agenda. That just shows right there an agenda. He's not for freedom. These people are not for freedom for anybody there.
Well, I know.
It's obvious. People are literally siding with this whole idea. People here in America, I'm telling you, Michael, they are brainwashed. It's a young generation. What you said in the beginning, TikTok, social media, university. The universities are all woke, whatever you want to call it, right? They're teaching these kids that Israel is a bad space, and there's what genocide? It's the same thing they say about trans people. There's no genocide. What?
This is such a disservice to actual genocides. To our, and of course, people don't know anything about actual genocides.
They don't.
Armenian genocide, among others.
That's right.
We had recently Armenian genocide.
That's right.
Over 100 years ago, when 1,200,000 Armenians were slaughtered by Turks. That was a genocide. Tutsi genocide. Within several days, hundreds of thousands of Tutsis were killed with machetes. Women, children. When there is an end, of course, Jewish genocide, which is Holocaust.
Yeah.
When there is a genocide, you cannot get your way out. You cannot say, you know what, I will give you this. And then I can get out. Well, here, give us the hostages and everything will stop.
That's right.
Give us the hostages and it will stop. What kind of genocide is that? Now, there is so far, if you believe the Hamas-run health ministry, and of course, no one in his right mind would believe them. No. We will have, even by their own numbers, 1.5% of Gazans were killed. Now they are counting in that fake number they have, counting in Hamas fighters, quoting 20,000, is it now 30,000 killed, and Hamas fighters, which Israel said we killed thousands of them. They're counting them in.
Wow.
So that is really, that is very, very humiliating for people that actually went through real genocide, because there was no way, when there is a genocide, that one can say, if we do this,
Yeah.
we can get out of it. No, no,
That's
that's
right.
it. That's
That's a
it.
great point.
That's it.
That's a all you got to do is give the hostages back and everything. Well, but
You have to give the hostages, and you have to surrender your weapons.
but
Uh,
it's
and,
but
and,
it's
and
crazy to me. People aren't even seeing that part. They're willing to stop. Give us our people back. And also, I'm going to say this, it might not people might not like it, but Hamas started it. If someone punches you in the face, are you just going to stand there? You're pretty much going to punch back. So I don't really understand why people aren't understanding. How did this whole thing start? There was a ceasefire, and Hamas totally went in and broke the ceasefire and bombed and killed a
we
bunch
had
of innocent
ceasefire.
people.
We had
What?
ceasefire on October 7th, and Hamas broke
That's
it. And
what?
next, and I was in New York when it happened, and
Okay.
on October 7th, on October 8th, I went
Uh-huh.
to Times Square,
Okay.
and there were thousands of people protesting.
Yeah.
That's before anyone, no civilian was killed yet.
Yeah.
So that means that as the news were rolling in on October 7th
Mhm.
about Jews being slaughtered, they
Mhm.
were replying for permissions, and they were writing the posts,
Mhm.
the posters, big posters. I mean, I remember, I took pictures of them. I remember one said, by any means necessary, which means Jews should be killed by any means necessary.
Wow. Wow.
So and you see, whenever whenever I can prove you very easily why nobody actually cares about Palestinians. They don't.
Okay.
When Bashar Assad killed hundreds of thousands of his own people, of Arabs,
Okay.
of Syrians, hundreds of thousands, much more than Israel in both sides in since the 1948, since the founding of the state of Israel.
Mhm.
Saudis bombed hell out of Yemen, killed tens of thousands of Yemenis.
Mhm.
Not one
That's right.
demonstration. But now no Arab went to the street. Nobody
Wow.
went to the streets. Nobody protested that. Nobody cared.
Right.
Now, the only time people go to the streets is when Jews are involved. Where is between Arabs and the Jews? That is when Muslims all over the world go to the street. And then, of course, there are also those bedfellows that follow with them. People that are, and some people that are absolutely not capable of independent thinking.
That's right.
And these people also go to the street. And this is very simple. I mean, seriously, absolutely no interest in protesting when we have atrocities. In fact, I don't think anyone knows. Anyone who condemned me definitely doesn't know that Assad killed hundreds of thousands of Syrians.
They don't know that. They don't
Absolutely.
care, Michael. They don't even want to do any research. You can do research on all this. There's a lot of great stuff out there. We'll explain exactly what Michael just said, which you made an excellent point. How come nobody protested before? How come all of these slaughters were happening before? Nobody ever, but you're right. The minute it becomes Israel, because there's anti-Semitism, people were just waiting. I feel like they're waiting for this, for
Absolutely.
a way to be anti-Semitic. Yeah.
The excitement that a lot of people had, you could see it on October 7th. And a lot of people wrote October 7th, it should be a national holiday. I've seen that.
Wow. Wow.
And so that is really upsetting. So, but again, I tell you, first of all, I don't care about any of the nasty comments that I received. They do nothing for me. Absolutely nothing.
Excellent.
I rely on an approval of my friends, my partner, my relatives. I rely on that approval. I don't care about people who I don't know. I also don't care about what the Iranians are saying about me. I also don't care what straight up saying that. And by the way, let me tell you something. I don't know if he if you've been in Iran anytime recently, I've been to Iran. I've been to Tehran. I've been all over the Middle East. I was on a Russian passport. I was on a Russian passport to Tehran. I have friends in Iran. And I can tell you that Iranian people are actually, a lot of them support Israel.
No, I know that.
Iranians support Israel. I have several friends from Iran, and they're supporting Israel. I also have friends in Tunisia. I also have friends in Egypt. I also have friends in Jordan. And all these people that I know not necessarily support Israel, but they very well, but they would love to be in Israel.
Yeah.
They would love to be in Israel. And they definitely don't have that hate towards Israel while they're being brainwashed and brainwashed and brainwashed, because these people actually know what it is like to live in those regimes.
That's right.
And it is very unnatural to be in support. Don't you think it is wicked that people, people that condemned me, these people, when someone will say something bad about gays, some American politician will say something bad about, not on board entirely with gay marriage, let's say.
Okay.
This person is a Nazi. Immediately, they hate towards this person. They hate towards this person, and that's towards people that want to introduce some laws that want to, and then and then we look at the society that want to kill them, mutilate them, murder them in the most barbaric ways. But these people, we suddenly side with them. We suddenly see them as underdog. That is, and that's where I can tell you, of course it's anti-Semitic. It is absolutely making zero sense.
That's right.
No, it's not necessarily anti-Semitic. It can be also absolute ignorance.
Well,
and no interest in thinking.
No.
You are so outraged about anyone who is not on board with gay marriage here in America.
Yeah.
But you are sorry. You are defending people that would mutilate you.
Oh my God! You make what is it? Free queer Palestine or whatever. Queers for Palestine. I mean, my God, Michael, you and I both know how absurd. You just made that point. They're voting for the people who would slaughter them. And to go to Israel, I've been to Israel. It's very, very, very LGBT friendly there. Very. I mean, it's incredible. Yet you're queers for Palestine. I think these people are so brainwashed. I don't necessarily think it is anti-Semitic on all levels. I think you're right. I think they're brainwashed into thinking something.
I don't think that Sean Xavier is anti-Semitic. I don't think he's anti-Semitic.
Okay.
I actually don't think that Derek Cage is anti-Semitic. But I never discussed with him. But I think that. Well, and by the way, I can tell you another thing. Interesting. That models. I think there were about 7 models that worked with me. That condemned me, and all of those models, their scenes were coming up, so they were under this huge pressure. And I know from some models that received this pressure, that condemn. Now, when people are sitting, and very Soviet style, I'm from Soviet Union, that's what was going there. Condemn.
Wow.
Or else. Condemn, this person, or you will go to jail. Well, here it's very different. Condemn him, or we will not work with you. Condemn him, or and under that pressure, I mean, look. Talking about Sean, for example, I understand he was very intimidated, and when you are in this Twitter bubble, you believe, sitting down Christmas Eve, you believe that the entire world is demanding. No, this is like 20 people. These are very active and very vocal people. Look, Sean left the industry, I think I know him for 12 years. He, I think, left the industry 4 or 5 times. Every time, I believe it was because the boyfriend would demand, the new boyfriend would always demand that he leaves the industry. So, he's weak. He's not a stupid guy. He's weak. He is very easily influenced.
Seriously.
And I guess I'm talking about him because that was very, very upsetting for me. that he did it because I do like the guy. So he did it. So he's very easily influenced, and he's not good under pressure. And
Yeah.
he received a lot of pressure because his scene was coming out,
So
and he
so
received a
what you're
lot of
saying
pressure.
is right, they pressured him into going along with the Free Palestine, or else he wouldn't get any more work. That's what you're saying,
And
which is
this is and
yeah.
this is not true.
But what?
Nobody gives. The thing
No.
is that the thing is that I don't have a problem with next production. I have models lined up.
Sure, sure.
Good luck to them to good luck to them to cancel me. Good
Not
luck to them.
happening.
Not happening.
No.
Not happening. I've been around for nearly 30 years.
That's right.
I
I
did my
know.
first movie when I was 90. It was when I was 96 in 1996.
Yeah.
I'm still a little bit far from that. Not real far. I'm 52. I'm 52. But uh, I don't get now. By the way, I gained so many members over this.
Wow.
So many members.
Wow.
People can see right through it, and I didn't lose
That's
any
right.
members. I
Good for
didn't
you.
lose any members. I won't be able to work with some models, and again, like
Oh well.
whoever condemned me, what 20 models altogether? I don't know. Are there 30 from hundreds and hundreds of models, or is it thousands? I don't know. So yeah, I already have people
But
outlined
why
for
are
the
they
next
bringing
production.
politics? First off, Michael, this industry, we already have a tough time with the world out there. For people in our industry, and I'm talking to the people out there who did that to you, shame on you. You don't have to do that. Keep it private. Send Michael if you need to talk to him about it, send it to him privately. But to put that in our industry, which already gets just nailed by the world, is so unbelievably,
You
I
know
don't
what
even know what the
reminds
word.
me? You know what
Yeah.
it reminded me? It
Yeah.
reminded me school bullying. It reminded me
Yeah.
exactly
That's
school
right.
bullying
Totally.
culture. Now,
Yep.
after you go through school bullying in Russia, and I don't want to undermine anyone's experience. I don't want to undermine anyone's experience because God knows it's difficult to be gay in
Totally.
American schools.
But
But
Russia.
you try that in Soviet Union, being Jew and no, I'm gay, but I was very different with others, just
Yeah.
like everyone,
Yeah.
whoever is gay. Now, try it back in the days when there is no internet and you don't
Yeah.
know who you are, and you only know once. Yeah, I remember I found it in I found it in the dictionary in a big book. Like homosexuals, that's people that go have that was
Yeah.
criminalized.
Wow.
People perversion and people who engage in this are criminal. So after this kind of bullying, please go ahead, go internet, write down that you hate me, write down that I'm genocidal, maniac, Zionist. Does
Wow.
nothing to me at all.
Right
Nothing
on.
to me.
Right on.
But it isn't same time. I tell you, it is a bullying culture, mean girl culture, mean
That's
boy
right.
culture. Look at that.
Yeah.
Because it's a desire to, gosh, gays should know better, to gang on a person, to gang on one person, and demand that he
That's right.
will. And I know a lot of people that were bullied in our
That's right.
industry, that were bullied, and once they're on the ground, they will be bullied to the end with most
Disgusting.
cruel ways. I remember the guy who made a video. I forgot his name.
Okay.
He made a video where he put the costume of that guy who was part of resurrection in the Capitol. In the
Yeah.
Capitol.
Right.
So he posted the video
Mhm.
where he was riding dildo in that outfit of that
That horn thing. Yeah.
horn
Right.
thing. Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So then, straight out get porn, of course. It's a moral authority on the industry. He destroyed him on his blog. He said, "This guy's MAGA." The guy is
Oh
not
wow.
MAGA.
Wow.
So, and the comments there, my God, I reached out immediately to this guy. I don't know that guy. Never met this guy.
Yeah. Sure.
But I reached out immediately. I said, "Listen, what I did, I made a post. I made a comment under one of those bashing blogs. I wrote, I don't see a problem here.
Okay.
He didn't do any wrong.
Yeah.
He's not a MAGA. I said, relax. It was a joke. It maybe is a bad joke, but it's a joke.
Right.
And then straight up, Gipon wrote a blog immediately. And there, you can see it there. And that was in time when I still read it, and I never do it any longer, because when you read lies about you, you might say I don't care, but you think about it. There are much better things. There are much better things to think about it, because it's always upsetting when you read lies and smear.
Right.
So I promised myself years ago never to read it again, and I don't do it now. So what I was saying is that he immediately wrote the blog that I am also MAGA because I'm supporting whatever he wrote, white supremacist, or whatever he called this poor kid, and all of that. And we had a lot of situations when people were, and I believe I always reached out to people that were bullied. Always.
Yeah.
Always. I always am sorry for this guy. And by the way, look, a lot of people reached out to me. A lot of models reached out to me and wrote me wonderful, really nice messages that we're with you and we're with your people. Don't pay attention to this. And I actually asked several of them. I said, this ask what we can do. I said, nothing. Please don't do anything.
That's right.
I don't care. And I don't want you to receive nasty comments.
But also, don't play into because things you're saying are so great. They act like little children, bullies. Why do they have to do a smear campaign against you when that's a political space that has nothing to do with what you and I are doing here in our space? And thirdly, you said something very profound right here. You said, shame on them. Gays should know better. 100%. We have it hard enough in the world, okay? And for them to be doing that is so, but that's what the people want. They want to divide us all. They want us to hate each other. It makes us weaker, and we're less powerful together. And I really do believe that for them to bring this Israeli Palestinian conflict into this space is so wrong and says so much about them. And I hope that they're watching this and they hear me. I don't appreciate you attacking other people in this industry over political stuff. It's not okay. And Michael has done a lot of stuff for this industry. Whether you like him or not, doesn't matter. You've done a lot of stuff, good stuff for this industry, Michael. And I will say that here publicly. So, it's gross.
Thank you very much. And again, those things, for me, I wrote an article, I think I sent it to you in Jerusalem Post, which is a major newspaper.
Yes, that's right.
In English, Jerusalem Post published it. And my interest in this whole story, and I have interest, and it's interesting for me, this whole story.
Sure.
I'm not a victim, as I said.
Right on.
Please.
That's right.
I don't give a fuck. But the story is interesting. And the interesting is because it shows the success of this attack. When the 1,200 Jews were slaughtered, and Thai people, and young people, among them, young people at a rave, young people was a pro-peace party.
I know.
Dancing there. When that happened, naturally, 2 months later, the only Jewish business owner in the industry is boycotted, in gay industry. I cannot think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know another Jew in the industry. What a coincidence. What a coincidence.
Totally.
One Jew in the industry is the only one is boycotted.
Not a coincidence.
Not a coincidence.
No.
Because look, straight up, Gip Warren was calling me a disgusting Zionist for years.
I'm just shocked.
The guy is incredibly anti-Semitic. Incredibly anti-Semitic. Of course, he pushed, and then he pushed ignoramuses into into all of that.
That's right.
Not necessarily anti-Semites, but a lot of ignoramuses. And
that's right.
And so I find this whole story to be interesting because Jews are being boycotted
Yes.
now.
Yes.
Jewish businesses are being boycotted
I
all over
know.
the world.
I
There
know.
are, there are demonstrators that go in front of hospitals that they think belong to Jews, in front of the stores that they think belong to Jews, and barking in front of those places. Jews are being boycotted all over the world
Yep.
over the biggest slaughter
I
of
know.
the Jews since the Holocaust. And I
It's
find it to
crazy.
be, it's from the Jews in even New York City
Yeah.
and everywhere, all over
Yeah.
Europe. Europe, Jews are afraid to wear their stars. Jews
I
are
know.
afraid of wearing their kippas.
I know.
And that is over October. And the Jewish owner of the owner of a Jewish pornographic company is also boycotted. Now,
It's
I
crazy.
found it to be incredibly interesting and incredibly telling the magnitude of the
Yeah.
problem that we have here. The
That's
magnitude
right.
of the problem. Now, do you think that someone like Straight Up Gay Porn will say, let's boycott him for being a Jew? Of course not.
That's
They
right.
will say, let's boycott him because he is a Zionist who want to kill Palestinian women and
That's right.
children.
That's
And
right.
there is a, I don't know if you know, there's a, one of my role models is, and I'm a secular Jew, but there's my role model is a Rabbi Sachs.
Okay.
And Rabbi Sachs said, he was a very famous British rabbi, and he explained anti-Semitism very well. He said anti-Semitism is a virus that adapts to time. Jews were hated first in medieval centuries,
Yeah.
during Inquisition, for hundreds of years,
Yeah.
for our religion.
That's right.
Then in the 20th century, you couldn't hate anyone for religion any longer. So Jews were hated for their race. And we had the Holocaust, which was no matter what your religion is, Jews that were Christians that became Christians, converted, were also killed famously.
Yep.
And so in 20th century, Jews were hated for their race.
Yeah.
Today, you cannot hate anyone for the race.
Yeah, that's right.
You cannot hate anyone for their race. So Jews are being hated for the nation state. And that is the mutation of that virus of anti-Semitism that adopts to times.
Wow.
But it is the same anti-Semitism that we had over centuries, which is Jew hatred.
They just renamed it. They just renamed it as Zionism, right?
Zionism is a movement that started by Theodor Herzl, and that is desire. They believe that Jewish people should have their country, and look what happened when Jews didn't have their country. We were slaughtered for centuries,
That's
from
right.
Inquisition,
right,
to Holocaust and pogroms in Russia.
Yep.
And
I lost your picture.
Hold on, I will.
It's really fascinating. Yeah, it might be their internet. There you go.
No, it's someone was trying to send me a code.
Oh, okay,
that might happen again.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is that yes, what I was saying is that it is this virus that is just adopting to time, and there is nothing more to it. We are the people that being hated, since Christ.
I know. That's the thing that people don't listen to. This whole idea that all of a sudden, like anytime you can get this idea that now this is all Israel's fault. This is what I see in my eyes. Again, not being born Jewish, not only being around the Jewish space now for a while, and I see it from different space, not as an actual Jewish person, but as a person who cares about, I care about everyone. But that being said, right now, I see a lopsided argument here, and I see a much more power coming to Palestine, free power, and everyone's just attacking Israel as if they don't care, or if everyone in Israel is a bad person, or if Israel it's a complicated conversation.
And it's interesting because so nobody cares about. Even if you imagine, they prove that it is anti-Semitic. course, every country can
Yes.
be criticized and should be criticized. It's very easy to prove that it's anti-Semitic.
That's right.
Even if one believes, and I'll prove you this way, even
Okay.
if you believe that Israel is a bad guy, well, certainly not the worst one, but is criticized and demonized disproportionately.
That's right.
Absolutely,
that was my point.
disproportionately.
That's right. Yeah.
We have. I think my phone might die.
Okay.
We have. No, it's okay if it will die today. So Saudi Arabia, that regime that decapitate gays,
I know.
that does not give women any rights. Was it ever criticized and that was carpet bombing Yemen and killed tens of thousands of Yemenis?
That's right.
Was it ever criticized like Israel?
Never.
What about other countries all over the Middle East?
That's right. They're never criticized. What about Iran? What about Hezbollah?
What about Cuba? What about
there you go.
all of those countries?
That's right.
The list is going on and on and on. And that is clear anti-Semitism. When people are so wired up about one country in the Middle East, tiny country in the Middle East.
That's right.
And that is we have what? We have how many Arab states we have?
Oh, thank you for saying it. It is bam. That's the question. How many Arab states do we have and how many Jewish states? Can anybody name that?
We have a tiny democracy in the Middle East.
Crazy.
And that's democracy where, and by the way, look, I'm in Israel. We have 20% of Arabs here, 20% of Muslims.
Great.
And they are very integrated in Israeli society.
That's right.
Yeah. And by the way, after these atrocities of October 7, all the polls showed that now 67% of Israeli Arabs, I feel more than ever a part of Israeli society.
Wow.
Wow. That's what it is. I mean, the unity in this country is
because they see people wake up. It's Hamas. It's not the Palestinian people. It's Hamas. They're literally terrorists. People are voting for terrorists. It's insane because it's anti-Semitic. It is. It's the whole thing is. The whole thing is.
Absolutely.
It's gross.
Look, I mean, these people are being brainwashed since civil.
Brainwashed. That's right.
I mean, these people were brainwashed since civil little. Of course, they would be anti-Semitic. And look, talking about that, I mean, we left Israel again. I mean, I don't think that all these people know, but Israel left Gaza in 2005. And you would imagine, this is a free will. We pulled every Jew, like Third Reich, every Jew, were dead or alive, we digged out the graves.
Okay.
What we got right after that, rockets on Jerusalem, rockets on Tel Aviv. And what is important is intent. And intent is, if not for Iron Dome,
Brilliant.
If not for Iron Dome,
right?
We left Gaza in 2005, and what we got back were rockets. You would imagine, we would imagine if you give people territory, they will see it as a gesture of peace. But unfortunately, that society see it as a weakness.
That's right.
I mean, Palestinians never had a state. That's another thing that they never know. Okay. Google it. Right?
Right. At least do some research.
Since never had a state. And Israel now offered state to Palestinians, 7 times, 8 times? It was always denied.
Always denied.
Good.
Yeah.
Always
That's
denied.
Right. Always denied, people. That Israel has tried to do 2-state solution forever, but they keep saying no. So wait a minute. Do people even know that, Michael? Do people even know that Israel has offered these kinds of solutions?
Well, they should Google Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton put his, huge part of his career he dedicated to making peace between Israel and Palestinians. Yeah. And in his book, he wrote, I read his memoirs, and he said that was he considered to be one of his biggest failures. He met Arafat after he was already gone, after he was out of office, and Arafat said, "Bill, you're the greatest president ever," and he said, "I'm not. I'm a failure. You made me one."
Excellent.
Because back then,
wow,
Israel offered half of Jerusalem.
Wow.
Everything that Arafat wanted.
Wow.
And the day before signing, Arafat said, "Actually, I want the entire Jerusalem." And that was it. Clinton left, Arafat left.
That was it.
And that was it.
You see, they don't want a solution because they don't want a solution. They want to wipe out Jews. My God, people wake up. It's so frustrating to see how dumb people have become. They've just become dumb and like following people. It's bizarre.
I mean, that is, as I said, the mutation of that virus is
That's right.
Amazing.
Mutation of the virus. What's the name of that rabbi that you mentioned? Rabbi
Sachs. Rabbi Sachs. I will send you the
Great. I'm very interested. Yeah.
He died about 2 years ago. He had cancer, and he died 2 years ago. He was a brilliant man. Brilliant man.
Wow.
But yeah, to round it up, I mean, this is all a sign of our time. There is no coincidence here. I mean, I think there's only, even among actors, I mean, I think there is only one other actor, Jewish actor, in gay porn. There are some people in straight porn.
Yeah,
but
sure.
In gay porn, it's
very small.
It's none.
Yeah, that's true.
And maybe this is something what Derek Cage and others can think a little bit about. Why does that happen? Maybe they were led up. Maybe they were led up by someone who is hating Jews and covering himself up by pretending that he just doesn't like the state of Israel. Happened to be a Jewish state. Happened to be a collective Jew. Happened to be so that 7 million Jews are living here.
Wow.
7 million Jews are living here. And if it would be up to Palestinians who will not be around,
I know.
It's all about Hamas chapter says the destruction of Israel, killing all the Jews. And they're telling you that all the time.
I know, and people are just acting like it's okay. Like, what? You say that about the Palestinian people, so the Israeli people don't count? Like, what is happening with people are so insensitive, and I'm scared for our future. People have really been dumbed down on some level, because you said at the beginning, social media.
Jews are now from Europe are moving to Israel. They are expecting, the Israelis are expecting about 1 million Jews to arrive after the war.
Wow.
Over this conflict, Jews are not feeling safe any longer.
They're not welcome.
In Europe.
That's right.
Here too. Oh, absolutely.
It's crazy.
Absolutely.
LA is crazy. You know that my son goes to a Jewish school. I'm not even saying anything because I'm scared, but they're constantly having bomb threats. They have to shut the school down. I'm like, what? This is LA. I'm like, wow, man. It's so gross. I can't even stand it, honestly. Michael, thank you for your time today. You are a great person. I care about you, and I care that people stop doing nonsense out there. And thank you for shining some light on what's happening. And do you have anything you'd want to say to the world out there before we leave?
No.
Okay.
No.
Awesome. They heard you. You're awesome. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Leave Michael beautiful comments. He's an awesome person. I've been friends with him for a long time. And I'll see you guys on the live on Wednesday. And thanks for joining us.